I'm good with the shuriken.
No, I don't think so.
Have you ever seen me throw them?
I happen to have some shurikens with me right now. Let's
I think
go
I did
test.
in our basement at some point, didn't I?
No, I didn't throw shurikens.
You never did? Are you sure? We had shurikens.
I know you did. I never threw them.
Why not?
Because I'm so deadly with them.
Because you didn't know where it would end up.
You can't not kill somebody with them. Even if
Exactly,
you're home alone.
That doesn't make you a good ninja.
That's how
That's
dangerous
not
a ninja I am.
That's not ninja-like.
Sure
That's more of like a poor impulse control.
Exactly. Ninjas can control shurikens.
Okay, so maybe I'm a ninja with like ADHD.
Hey, welcome back to Even More Mashed Up. We are the pop culture podcast coming to you directly from Misericordia University. Two old professors talking about all things pop culture. I'm Alan.
And I'm Patrick. And hey, Alan, I got a question for you.
What's that question?
Do you want to build a dam? See, because they built the dam.
I don't think you can say damn.
I can say dam because it's
I don't think
D-A-M.
you can say damn.
Yeah. No. Before we get into the topic of today's show.
Did you sing?
I did.
So that's what you have?
No, I've got something even better.
Do you want to build a dam?
I've got something even better.
I don't think so.
I do, because I have sad news.
Yes.
This is before we get to the topic of today, which is Frozen 2. I have sad news.
Yes.
For longtime listeners of the podcast.
Numbers have died.
Yes. We may have reached the end of numbers on the podcast.
Why?
And why is it sad? Two questions. Two direct follow-ups.
One didn't need to be
Number
asked.
one, why? Number two, why would anybody
As
care?
longtime listeners of the show will know,
yes,
a lot of the numbers we've relied on the Box Office Mojo website.
Box Office Mojo is no more?
No.
Oh.
It's a pay site now?
It's a pay site now.
Wow. That's even worse.
It's part of IMDb Pro, which means you have to pay $19.99 a month or $149.99 a year. And even then...
A year?
Even then... They've gotten rid of all of the all-time charts.
Did you say $20 a month?
Well, it's also part of IMDb Pro, so I assume you're getting other stuff besides that.
Yes, you do get other stuff. But IMDb Pro is also owned by Amazon.
What do they? But what does Mojo provide?
Well, they've got the
numbers.
It's all the data and stuff. But they did get rid of like all of the all-time lists. Like even if you go behind the paywall, they're not there.
Why?
I don't know.
We should have
done. This happened in like October.
Why didn't you tell me this?
I just found it out. We haven't done films for a while, and I haven't done numbers for a while. So I went to get some numbers on Frozen 2, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't.
Do you think we should?
Either you die a hero or live long enough to be the villain.
The death of Box Office Mojo, and Amazon is the villain.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, thank you to Box Office Mojo.
You've got to be kidding
me. For
me.
providing the bulk of my material for the last 2.5 years.
To hell with Box Office Mojo, because we're not going to use them anymore.
Well, I don't blame them. So, you got to make a buck, but I blame Amazon.
Oh.
They don't have to make a buck.
Sure they do.
Amazon makes money.
Don't you think they were making money, but Amazon's just making more money now?
It's like Netflix cutting shows because they don't own the whole thing.
Somewhat lucrative if Amazon bought them, but...
Exactly. Amazon doesn't buy...
So... No, but maybe the guy wanted to get out of the Box Office Mojo racket.
Mr. Mojo?
The guy? There's one guy you think doing all that?
Actually, there's two that created it.
Mo and Joe?
I don't know their names.
Mr. B.O. Mojo.
But yeah, so my go-to source for numbers.
So we're not going to do numbers anymore?
Is no more. I don't know how. Certainly not to the
he
extent
can't
that we've
just
done them in
Google
the past.
the numbers he's looking for.
No, absolutely not. Like
God forbid he goes to Google and puts in box office
That there be any
movie.
actual work to do the show besides going to the same place over and over and over again.
Really? You're the one that's going to complain about work on the show.
Yes. Oh, I'm going to complain about work. I've been watching Crisis on Infinite Earths the last couple nights.
I haven't watched that yet, so don't spoil it for me.
That's work.
Don't spoil it.
I can't believe Dark Phoenix died.
Okay, that makes no sense.
It's a Crisis.
Also, why are you surprised by that? Dark Phoenix always dies.
It should have started with a funeral.
So, anywho, today's topic, Frozen 2.
Oh, boy.
I'm assuming we're doing our usual...
You didn't answer the second question.
What?
Why are we sad?
Well, I'm sad.
Okay, fair.
Is that, it's one of our longest-running shticks on the show.
It's true.
Which could continue if you simply do
it did. I don't think, like, literally... Any effort
But I doubt you're going to have
the
same level of detail in terms of like the genres.
Now I have to see
like that.
So Mr. Numbers, if he can't just plagiarize,
it's nice having a one. Hey, I gave them credit. Which now that they're owned by Amazon, if I ever use them, I will absolutely give them credit because Amazon will come after us.
Do you think so?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Amazon would want to buy us.
Oh, but you obviously wouldn't want to sell out like that.
No, not at all.
So.
Not for any
If
number
I
of
just
millions of
Googled box
dollars.
office of Frozen 2 and got all the numbers that we usually get.
Yeah, but you don't get the breakdown by genre over time or a comparison to other studios or
Really? So if Rich were to
or
Google
you know
That,
top 10
those
shark
those
top
exact
10
words.
Disney princess movies, that he would not come up
I'm
with.
not sure
them.
Frozen counts as. I guess they are Disney princesses.
Just
What do you
is
mean you
Frozen.
guessed there?
For some reason, I
I guess they might be princesses.
don't know, for some reason I think of.
Do you realize they
They
are
are royalty.
literally princesses?
Technically, they're queens by the end of the film.
Well, they can't both be a queen. Well, they can be at the end of the film. Fair point.
Yeah.
But they're
Yeah.
princesses.
But that's
Yeah.
but by definition, if they were queen, they were princes at some point.
exactly.
Did you say princes?
Princesses.
It sounded like you said princesses.
There's too many
princesses.
S's. I don't like saying princess.
There's too many S's. So many
S's.
S's.
Yeah, you do know they are, in fact, part of the princess genre.
Yeah, I
right?
guess they are. Yeah, for some reason I think of Frozen as outside
Again,
your typical
you
Disney
guess
film,
they
but
are.
it's totally
Well,
not.
you're so reluctant.
I'm a little tired. I'm not.
Why
at the
would
top
you?
Of my game.
Why would you be?
The whole loss of numbers is really hitting me hard. I'm
Like-
sort of in a deep state of mourning.
Like who was Princess in the Fog? The Tiana.
Yes.
Yes.
If she's a princess, they are definitely princesses.
Why do you say that?
It's because she's black.
Well,
Yeah, you knew. You were going to the same place.
I
Don't-
was not. I
you
would-
I was
totally
gonna
were.
say
I
she's
do
not
not-
royalty, but
Yeah, I
okay.
mean, if
I do
she
not want to
counts-
play the race card. I never saw that one, so I don't know.
think we're playing the race card today.
Well, you played it.
We
God.
talk about Frozen 2.
Do I need to cut
No,
that?
I don't think so. It's
You
just
don't-
a
you
it's
don't
a
think so?
harmless child's comic.
Wait, which comic?
Frozen 2.
Oh, okay.
So, but they are princesses.
Yes, they are.
Let's be clear.
Yes.
So, I've got a couple of things from Hope to start.
Okay, that seems like a good place
Start
to
on
start.
an optimistic note.
Okay.
Jonathan Groff
I don't know who that is.
is the love of Hope's life.
Who is Jonathan Groff?
You do not. Oh wow.
Is he the one that does Kristoff?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big Broadway guy.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yes.
I will
Have
say.
you check this. I think he played the king in
In-
Hamilton.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I will say
What was his name?
that
Brian
Kristoff's
Jonathan Christoph?
Jonathan Groff.
Oh.
Kristoff is the character. It's a well
So,
oiled
Rich, I
machine
assume
here.
you've not seen the movie.
So many S's
Yes.
in Groff.
No.
Too many S's. Too many F's. Too many fuffusses. Too many fuffusses.
So anyway,
I will say one of the highlights of the
So,
film for
yeah.
me was the Kristoff boy band video. That was I enjoyed that. That was nice.
Well, it had this. That was a really beautiful moment that kind of inverted a bunch of things that you kind of like. Usually, that would be the song that the girl would sing
Yes.
in a traditional movie, and it's the guy singing it and kind of pining away, and he's
Yes.
nothing without her. And it was. I thought it was kind of beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
in that
No, it
one.
worked on a number of levels.
But Hope absolutely loves him,
Okay.
at least for the time being. Anyway,
Okay.
she said,
Wow, are you
and-
describing Hope as fickle?
No.
Okay, just checking.
Quote, his voice is smooth and rich with a juicy vibrato.
Okay.
I just wrote down what she told me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hope did not say it in that tone, though.
And do you know he does the reindeer voice himself? And can sing on pitch with it, which is apparently quite an impressive accomplishment.
Why would I be surprised that he does the reindeer voice when it's always Kristoff doing the reindeer
Because
voice?
he's not Kristoff. You're aware of this, right? There are people voicing characters.
I am. But-
Your assumption that the same person has to do this. it
But
doesn't
when
make any sense
Kristoff, when you hear
whatsoever.
the reindeer voice, it's always Kristoff pretending to be the reindeer.
Right, exactly.
So
Doesn't
why
mean
would I be
Kristoff-
surprised
doesn't
that
mean
the
Jonathan
same
Groff
actor that
has to
plays
do it.
Kristoff plays the character
Well,
that Kristoff
because
is?
usually with voice actors, they can't, like, usually they bring in people to do that.
And that's a professional, sir. A professional putting you in your place. Looks like your lack of numbers has really thrown you off.
I'm a
your game.
professional. Wait, I'm a
He literally
professional?
goes back and forth between Kristoff
Yes.
and the reindeer.
Yeah.
So why would I be surprised that it's the same person?
Why would you be surprised it wasn't?
I wouldn't be surprised either way, but you're acting like the fact that it's the same person is some sort
follow
of
up on the
remarkable
other.
thing.
No, that he
Alan,
can sing.
follow up on the other. Yes, he is the king.
Thank you very much. No, that he can sing on pitch is the surprising thing.
Not just
as the
because he
reindeer.
means he's talented.
Because he's got a
Yes,
juicy vibrato.
that is what we
That was
celebrating
kind of
his
the point,
talent.
wasn't it? Yes, we were
I thought
celebrating
your point was that
Jonathan
he was
Groff.
playing both
We
characters.
were
Until
going.
somebody-
He is so
until somebody
talented
made
that
it
he.
all about himself.
How did I make that
And
about
how
myself?
smart he is about cartoons.
Oh my god.
The breakout song from this is Into the Unknown.
Meh.
Yeah, but Anna's song with Olaf when he's dying is much better, according to Hope.
Oh, spoilers, by the way.
Yeah, the next right thing. It's okay. He doesn't really die. Olaf.
I thought all the songs were fine. I didn't really feel like any of them were quite the standout that Let It Go was. I also didn't feel like they were trying to make one the standout like Let It Go was, so I was fine with it.
Oh, they wanted to.
You think so?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
didn't feel that
Disney.
way.
Right. 'Cause you know what Disney did? They're like, they went to the writers of the music. They said, here's what we want. Good, but not great songs. Please, nothing that breaks out.
Yeah, like,
we don't want to
send this one-
stand out. No hits.
Send this
No
one back.
hits.
It's too good.
I didn't
too
say
catchy.
it was intentional. I just said my
Actually,
impression.
Rich, I found stuff online where they actually sent stuff back, and they were like, "This has got hit written all over. It's not what
and
we want."
as Disney do not want to be noticed.
No,
I
we
just
definitely
said-
no
I
hits.
I just
No
said
hits.
that was my impression. Is none of the songs felt like they were trying.
You didn't
too
bring
hard.
numbers and were angry about that.
Yeah, he's so angry. Everything we say, Rich, he's really bitter about
I'm
today.
not bitter. What was bitter about? I liked all of the songs, but none of them felt like they were trying too
Here's
hard.
what's bitter.
There's nothing bitter in that.
Your stream of gold has dried up. What used to be given to you for free is no longer free.
Are you suggesting that
It's been
perhaps
damned.
it's been damned?
Yes, we're getting there.
Yeah, that dam was not a gift.
I had actually had a actually had a comment about the music. I think the problem with the music was it was mixed wrong.
How so?
When you
This
sat
is
in
this is a walk up to something.
No, absolutely not. And Hope totally agreed with
Such
me in the
bitterness.
thank you, right? Somebody is very
Just wait.
cynical now that everything has a price in the world. My God, if Box Office Mojo can be bought,
My
who
childhood
can't?
is just a price tag on it.
I wasn't complaining about the fact
God.
that you were
Next
the one
thing,
that was upset
you know
they
what?
got bought, that they sold out.
The next thing, Legos are going to be a big business.
I hate you.
No, to me, when you listen to those songs, they don't let the Broadway singers, who are really, really terrific singers, shine. The voices are muted and the orchestration is raised in a way that I think prevents a breakout song from even having the chance of happening. Now you're all mad. You're not even taking my point seriously anymore. You're sitting over there literally pouting. You
Yes,
have the
I am.
look on your face.
Yes, I am. I'm pouting.
You have the look on your face.
Stupid head.
When Rich had the veto, and then you got all upset about the veto.
You guys suck.
You just quit. But it was
I'm not letting you take a picture of me pouting.
it was the song mixing that was the problem. The
Okay.
songs were mixed all wrong.
So,
Is that something?
hypothetically,
They probably should have gotten some more equipment from BFH or whatever it was.
B&H.
B&H.
Yeah. Or had Camera Ninja do it. There would have been a better sound.
well,
mixing.
and I wonder if it was one of those things where when
No?
they released
You
this.
think the camera ninja provides better sound?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
not a sound ninja. He's a camera ninja.
Have you listened to the Camera Ninja stuff? Like when those paintballs start
I haven't
flying?
listened to our show. What makes you think I listen to camera ninja stuff?
It was hurtful until he said the we didn't listen to our show. So, okay,
Well,
good
but
point.
that's kind of a well-established fact on this
Yeah.
show.
But
But anyway, the drama of the songs was lost because it was poorly mixed.
I wonder
Okay,
if when they
sound
release the
mixer
soundtrack of
Okay.
the film, if it'll be changed.
I hope so.
I thought the
Because
songs were. I was perfectly happy with the songs.
they were. I thought they were fine. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
I mean, for me, it felt like. I mean, Let It Go obviously had kind of a message that transcended the film.
Right.
It didn't feel like any of the. Like, all of the songs felt very plot based in
Agreed.
Frozen 2. And so I didn't feel like there was that.
the Let It Go
message
was
song.
plot based in a way too.
It was,
though.
but also.
It was
still
so
had kind of that
grandiose
message that you could
that-
extract
yeah.
out.
Well, but Anna's song about like grieving and depression and that could be a transcendent song.
Yeah.
But like the last one, actually, like "Do You Want to Build a Snowman" is also like it's a classically good song. Like it's better than what we had in this movie, I think. It's a great song.
Especially-
Olaf's song is really funny in the
I
first
really
one.
don't like anything with Olaf.
Okay, my next
But
note
he
is
wasn't
literally
really in that
Olaf is
song.
hilarious. I find Olaf
What?
totally adorable.
No.
I love.
Oh no, Olaf was so heavy-handed.
No.
If he mentioned water having memory one more time, or the whole "I don't want things to change." Half an hour later, things are changing. I'm sad. Like if they could have used him
You do more.
any more
Could you do the rest of the
to
show in your
underline the
Olaf?
plot.
No, could you please do the rest of your show in your
Yeah.
Olaf voice?
I wasn't really doing an
No,
Olaf voice.
you did for a minute.
Well, it's
You
just-
verged on that. What did Olaf say
Ugh.
about water and its memory?
That it has memory.
No, come on. Now you're not even trying.
No, I'm not.
We had
I'm not giving you what you
so this
want.
is going to be another
the
Patrick
bitterness.
Couch show.
The bitterness has come back.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, Olaf was.
I think Olaf is adorable.
no, he's
Yeah,
annoying.
He's hilarious.
He is the most annoying sidekick character in the entire Disney
He is
pantheon.
my favorite. Name a better one. He's my favorite Disney
All of them.
sidekick. Name
Really?
one.
Flounder.
Okay, Flounder
Really?
is stupid.
Yes,
No way.
but Olaf is stupider.
No way. Flounder is terrible.
Sebastian.
No, I hate Sebastian.
Why do you hate Sebastian?
Nobody likes Sebastian.
I love Sebastian.
His whole
love
point is to not
Sebastian?
be liked.
Sebastian?
Wait, is Sebastian the crab?
Yeah. No one's supposed to, because he's supposed to be the whole rules guy.
Does he have a Jamaican accent?
Yeah, he does.
Okay. We were at lunch the other day talking about Sebastian and whether it would be okay to do a high school musical, like a high school putting on The Little Mermaid.
Gotcha.
And having Sebastian do the accent locally, so it's a white kid
yeah,
doing.
locally, that's
what's
very
your,
problematic.
What's your
Probably
take on
not.
that?
I'm going to say no.
That was
Yeah.
the general consensus.
Yeah, I'm going to say
Disney
no.
got away with
The
something.
person at the table who had actually seen it didn't
Said-
disagree.
Said,
I would
okay.
say.
They said it was okay.
This person did not want to stake themselves, I think, to a politically unpopular
Okay.
position in the district. But yeah, so Sebastian racist, not okay. No. So Olaf's better.
I still hate Olaf.
Love Olaf.
Oh,
His
okay,
reenactment of everything in the first film. I was on the floor. That was
Okay, I
so
was not
funny.
on the floor, but
It was funny,
that was
right?
that was funny. But I find him so grating. And
His songs are the best, and then he melts and we cry.
no, I didn't cry because I was like, he's coming back.
You're such a cynic.
Well,
It's-
come
it's-
on! Like Elsa was really gonna stay dead.
So you can't feel it. You can't let yourself feel emotion for not even a moment.
I did not feel any emotion.
All
There's
your
no
emotions
joy
gone to
in
the
that-
death of box office mojo, hasn't
Yeah.
it?
No, my
All you
emotions
cry
were-
about.
No,
That
my-
bitter shell can't be broken, by a snowman who's just happy to be alive.
I hate loving childish sidekicks.
He's like the
Okay,
Grinch.
They're the worst.
Okay.
He is the
I
Grinch.
do not like. I just don't like Olaf. He sucks.
Olaf is the...
No, he's
Christmas
not.
cheer.
No, he sucks. Olaf sucks.
No, he's the best.
Olaf sucks.
I love Olaf.
How can you love Olaf?
He's adorable.
He is not adorable.
He is what the
Wait a minute! You
porns-
hate all things adorable.
That's the what is
the
going on
iron?
here?
The irony.
That's
The
the
ironic
irony?
quality of what we're talking
Oh,
about.
Jesus,
Is that
no.
you love adorable and I hate it, yet
Oh,
Olaf I
no.
love, which means he can't be adorable.
Yes, he. Oh no, 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 no.
He's
You
something
are
he
a
transcends adore. You're a hypocrite.
No, I'm not.
You love all things adorable.
I don't love all things
Oh,
adorable.
you do.
I do not.
Name one thing that's adorable you don't love.
Care Bears.
You love
do
Care
not
Bears.
love
You
Care
can name
Bears.
them all.
That doesn't matter. That's because Valerie watched Care Bears.
Oh, yeah, and here come the excuses.
Yeah, I have like
Yeah,
Care Bear
uh-huh.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
What?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh,
so
no,
you
not
did.
Tenderheart.
So you did not care for Olaf.
I've never cared for Olaf.
I thought Olaf. He might be my favorite part of the
No,
movie.
I don't like Olaf to begin with, and then the fact that he was so heavy-handedly used for exposition in this film to underline the plot or the themes of the whole change is bad. And
So the
and
film
I'm-
made for 8-year-olds you find to be not plotted in the way that your 46-year-old
It
person
wasn't subtle
would
enough.
like it. So you wanted something more Scorsese-like.
No,
Yeah.
I did not want something more scary. I wanted something more amusement park ride-ish. I like my theme park movies.
I know you do.
Theme park movies?
Oh, I forgot. I have numbers. I brought numbers.
Okay, that's good.
What are the numbers on Rotten Tomatoes?
It's like at 96%, I think I saw.
Not when I checked.
Oh, when did you check?
So you check numbers. And
No,
you,
I just
Yeah.
saw. I
and you
saw,
chose not to bring them.
Off the top of his head.
Yeah.
I think
Whoa,
it's
whoa, whoa,
90.
numbers, and then he admits he saw them.
No, I just saw a commercial that said, running at 96%.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. There's always an excuse.
Oh yeah,
My
it's
sister
so
made me play
unlikely
with
that I
Care
would have
Bears.
seen a commercial for Frozen on TV because I never watch TV.
Well, you definitely wouldn't see
Wow,
one for
somebody is
Frozen.
in a bad
Frozen
mood
2,
today.
I'm in a
maybe.
good mood, and you've
Do you
ruined
realize
it.
Christmas is coming, right? This is our Christmas show.
This is not the Christmas show.
That Star Wars is, right? Guess who doesn't care about the new Star Wars movie?
You?
Rich.
Rich.
I said
He
I
said,
was.
he said there's
yeah.
too much Star Wars stuff in the world.
Well, no, because
There's
It's
a
not
lot of Star
special
Wars.
anymore.
like
There's a lot
when the
of Star Wars
first
stuff
one
in the
new film came out, it's like, oh man, Star Wars, and now there's a lot of it now.
Yeah,
It's not unique.
The guy that laments the extended universe thinks there's too much.
Right. It's become too much for him.
Yeah.
By the way, The Mandalorian will definitely reinforce that point of view for you.
Oh, I love the Mandalorian.
Oh, it's terrible. We're going to definitely argue about The Mandalorian.
So what, you both? I mean, we're not
If
doing
Baby
it now. but
Yoda
you-
were here,
God, I love
I would take him in two hands.
Oh, don't tell
and
me
I
you're
would
gonna-
drop kick him as far as I could.
Why would you do that to Baby Yoda? He's a Baby Yoda.
Because he's the worst of adorable.
So adorable.
He is the
Have you seen the Africa?
is the
have you seen
absolute climax of the
mashup
stuff you
Toto's
love and I hate.
Africa with him pushing the buttons?
No, I saw that you posted it, and I
so
chose consciously
It's so
and of
good.
my own free will
I love Baby
not to
Yoda.
watch it.
Oh my
I
god.
love Baby Yoda.
So the audience is at 92 when I checked.
Oh, okay.
What are critics at?
I'm gonna say 85.
70.
You guys almost split the difference exactly. Rich
75?
wins though, 77.
Oh, okay.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
Do you think the difference between 70 and 85 is 75? You think that's halfway in between?
I'm a video person, not a math person. He's numbers.
So it was 77 with the critics.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is about right.
Oh, I'd go way lower.
I would not. I think it's a passable kids movie until you get to my political complaint with the film.
Okay, I was gonna say I really hope
Because I do have...
You mean the racism in the film?
Well, yeah, but like racism...
Disney and racism? No.
If we just talked about racism, like, we wouldn't be doing our job. It's worse than that. Like, it's not just a general racism, right?
Okay.
Like, there's a very...
Oh, there's a lot of layers
There's
to
a
it.
very particular problem. So why don't you start with the racism, and we'll kind of work towards...
Oh, I don't even know where to start with the racism.
I looked at Forbes. They had 5 big complaints with the film.
Okay.
One had to do with race.
Oh my God, just one?
Do you want to hear the others? Let's talk through that. And
Yeah,
then we'll
let's
get
talk
race.
through that. We
All
can
right.
talk
So,
through
number one, the plot is too convoluted.
It is a very complex plot. I will give them credit that they didn't just try to do a rehash of the first film.
That's a nice thing to say about this movie.
That it was like I kept expecting Hans, the bad guy from the first film, to show because I mean Disney sequels always kind of follow a formula.
At least the
so
guy that danced like a peacock.
yeah, so I will give them credit
Where
that
was
they.
he?
No. Hans was the one that Anna was originally in love with.
But I meant the guy that danced like a peacock.
But that's not Hans. That was
I know.
The,
I said like the guy with the peacock, like him too. I expected him to come back.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Wow, somebody is cranky today.
Yeah, shut up.
So plot too convoluted.
I wouldn't say too convoluted. I liked the complexity. I liked what they were going for. I applaud their ambition.
That they were trying to write it for you.
even if they did fall
But it
very,
ended up
very,
for-
very, 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 very flat.
To me, yeah, there were a couple of twists and loops added on that were extraneous. Number 3. I'll come back to number 2.
Okay.
Not much of an antagonist in the film. Forbes identifies the antagonist as the grandfather.
Well, it's either their grandfather or it's nature. Like those are the two. You're right. There's not really a clear Disney bad guy.
We do hate nature.
So
We hate it so much.
I don't know that I necessarily see that as a problem, but I would agree. There's not a clear
You don't see
Disney
hating nature as
villain
a problem.
in the sense
No,
that
he's all for hating
there's always a clear Disney villain. So
Right, and not that there has to be, I guess, but this was a little,
yeah,
abstract.
yeah, yes, that's a good way to describe it.
Anna and Kristoff's forced and rushed betrothal.
Well, I don't know if it was forced and rushed. I mean, they've been together for 3 years in the
But in the
time frame of
film, the actual, the proposal.
Oh, I didn't think it was rushed. I thought the moment
It
Hans...
was one of my least favorite parts of the movie.
Well, the moment Hans tries the first time to propose and botches it, I'm like, oh, so this is going to be the running gag until the end of the film when he finally does manage to
You know
propose.
everything, which is impressive.
It telegraphed itself
and yet
a
you
bit.
still called him Hans.
Oh, sorry, Christoph. Yes, Christoph, sorry. Yeah. Christoph's whole proposal bit. Like, the moment that, I was like, well, I know
I
what's
won
happening.
today. I just won
Man,
today.
I didn't see that twist coming when Hans comes out of the ground and just like,
It's Hans disguised
Hans,
as
who doesn't even
Christoph.
show up in the movie.
Yeah, I got my generic blonde male leads in Disney films mixed up.
Was Hans blonde?
I think he was, or reddish blonde.
No, I don't think so.
Anyways.
Rich, look up a picture of Hans. Forgettable music, number 4.
What was that?
Forgettable music.
I'd say that's harsh.
I would say it's relatively forgettable. None of the songs really stick with me.
I mean, I liked them all, but yeah, I mean, nothing reached the level of Let It Go, and so if that's what
Red
movies
hair.
have to do, it means that they are, falling short.
what did I just miss? I was looking at Hans.
He's so unhappy. And when he's unhappy, I think it makes for the best podcasting.
I'm glad you know. I don't.
Number
have to deal with
5.
Number 5. The noble savage and the
Oh.
parentage of the princesses.
Oh God, it's
And yes, they did call them princesses.
It's such a hot mess.
So talk to me a little bit about the hot mess of.
Which part?
Well, where do you want to start? Because there was one part that I thought was new
Okay.
and particularly bothersome to me in terms of not new in terms of being an issue.
Okay.
But new in terms of being addressed.
Okay.
So what do you got? Where do you
Well,
want to
go start with your new
Okay.
thing, and then I'll.
So my political complaint goes like this.
Mm-hmm.
The film is on some level about racial reparations.
Yes, or I would say it's anti-colonialism, but
But
same thing, same basic idea.
But there is to me, what's kind of new is this idea that there should be reparations. There's a clear kind of theme running through the film that the white people downriver have abused, oppressed, and colonized the people upriver.
Yes.
And so it's up to Anna and Elsa to kind of make it right.
Yes.
And so the plot, Rich, and you can cover yours if you want to. Like, I think that's a fine idea to think about.
Oh no, I will give them credit for actually
of,
trying to tackle a kind of anti-colonialist message.
But to me, reparations are such a hot button topic in American society, because if you say African American reparations, like 48% of people in this country absolutely lose their freaking minds, right?
Is that an official number?
I'm just looking at Trump's numbers.
Okay.
It's kind of how I'm pegging that. You can argue the 48 if you want.
I'm just curious if you have a source for that number.
That's where the number came from.
Okay.
So the message is that Anna's going to destroy the dam, which is the symbol of oppression, and it's going to destroy her town, but that's okay because that sacrifice has to be made. The oppressors have to pay some kind of price for what they've done. She destroys the dam, but in the end, the town pays no consequence. Like there is literally no price paid. Like
yes.
It seems to me that the message about reparations is something like this: that white people don't need to do anything, that make no sacrifice beyond kind of acknowledging past wrongs.
Yeah,
that long as Anna says we did terrible things, everything's okay.
Right.
And so it wants to talk about racial reparations, and it wants to do so in what seems like a kind of serious way as an undertone in the film. But in the end, it ultimately dodges the issue.
Yeah,
and it makes it an issue of white conscience again.
Yeah.
As long as white people are thinking rightly and atoning by apologizing for the past, we're good. We don't have to worry about the systemic sort of inequalities that have been built in for an entire generation of people's lives.
Yeah, so, I mean, I sort of look at the film in the context of colonialism, but much of the same way, in the sense that there's a couple ways that I look at the film. One is that because of what happens in the end, it sort of suggests the idea
You mean
that
the town getting saved?
The town getting saved, the whole climax. It
so
sort of suggests
should you explain that briefly so that we...
What was that?
Do you want to talk about like the other parts of the climax?
Well, no, the same things that you mentioned. The idea that Anna destroys the dam.
But Elsa becoming a queen.
Well, that's a whole. We'll get to the end of the film that's a whole other problem. Well, it's part of the problem.
It's part of the problem.
But it suggests the idea that colonialism can police and fix itself.
Right. With good intentions.
But we all know that that's not the history of colonialism.
If you are a colonialist, you probably don't have good intentions.
Yeah, exactly. That this idea that
thought.
and kind of like, because there were two things that my two major problems with the film. I compare the film to two other recent films that have a sort of colonialist message.
Oh, interesting.
One of those is Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
Which is the idea when you have that moment in the throne room where Hela reveals the propaganda poster of like Odin sort of making peace with all the people, and then you find out that he actually did it through like savage conquest and violence, and she says
Odin was in fact a colonizer.
Yeah, and the idea that she says, oh, poor Odin, proud of what you have, ashamed of how you got it.
Yes.
That the problem I have again is that they pay no price, or the idea that colonialism can fix itself while maintaining the spoils of that colonial effort.
Right. Although
it's one of the main differences is in that Ragnarok, Asgard and everything that was built on that colonialist foundation is destroyed.
That's what that was my point. Like the Asgardians,
they pay the price.
They pay the price.
And
in a way, Hela is part of that.
It's their colonial past coming back to actually bite them.
And she inflicts that kind of damage.
Yeah.
So does Thor do it a little bit better then?
Yeah, oh yeah, Thor I agree is better.
Okay,
in the sense that it does not let colonialism remain innocent. It does not let colonialism sort of, it'll fix itself.
Right.
You know, that again, that, oh, it's well-intended, and eventually they'll figure out what they did wrong and fix things.
And Thor loses an eye.
And Thor, yeah, I mean, the whole thing of like, they do pay a price.
Right.
In Thor Ragnarok.
That Anna and Elsa's people
the
never
characters
pay.
in Frozen 2 pay no price, and so...
Now, I guess we should acknowledge that the film was made for 8-year-olds
Yes.
as opposed to 46-year-olds.
I would agree,
But
but still...
nonetheless, the message...
It's still a problem.
We're still going to eviscerate this film.
Yeah,
aren't we?
back
I
at
haven't
some point.
I haven't even started to eviscerate the film.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's, I mean, the moment the
happy
film
again.
began,
Yeah. Oh, yes, now he's happy.
and you have their father telling the story of like their first meeting with the North Uldra.
Yeah.
And he's like, and we gave them a dam as a gift. I'm like, oh, that dam is not a gift. I'm like, there is no way.
Right.
I'm like, I can already see where this is going.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, so we've got kind of an idea of, like, that opening scene. I was like, oh, so this is going to be colonial propaganda that will eventually get undercut.
Yeah.
But then I was sort of like, well, wait a minute. Their father, as I understand it, is the only person that got out of the Enchanted Forest when it was cut off.
And the mother.
And the mother. Well, I mean, the mother's a whole separate issue, but of the Arendelle people, he's
Right.
the only one that got
You
out.
mean the white folks.
So he's the one that put out this story. He had to be the source of it.
Well, is he aware? He's not aware of the betrayal, is he?
He's not aware, but I still found it really kind of problematic.
Right, but in a way that's so forced
Yeah.
that you say to yourself, could he really be like that obtuse?
Yeah. Well, there's any
it's
number
like,
of...
The only way you can assume is he's that stupid to not realize, oh, these add up to we betrayed
Right.
them.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
it's but the other and then the whole thing with the mother too, who is apparently the only North Uldran individual,
Yes.
that is not recognizably North Uldran and looks like an Arendellian,
So she can pass.
so she can pass. And I'm like, well, that seems weird.
See, now
and
I'm-
also that he doesn't
but-
realize, like, he's literally on the wagon with her, being
Yeah.
taken back to Arendelle. At some point, he woke up.
Yeah.
How does he not know who she is?
Yeah.
Because there's the scene when Anna or
Selective
Elsa's doing the
amnesia?
memories,
Yeah,
and she's
yeah,
like,
no.
I have to tell you my secret. I'm like, so the woman who eventually became queen
Yeah.
just randomly showed up one day.
Do we see him wake up with her? Maybe
We
she
don't.
Maybe she had left.
But
and
even
he woke
then-
up by himself.
but even
and
then-
yeah, no, you're right. I'm not. I
woman
don't want
just
to.
shows up. That, like, the vetting process for queen seems very sketchy.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to.
It's not a great kingdom.
It's not a great kingdom. Yeah.
Well, the king's not very smart
Yeah.
at best.
Yeah.
At worst, he's the antagonist along with his father.
Yeah. Well, he's at least unintentionally.
Yeah.
But again, it gets that idea
Well, it's either
of
intentional
intentions.
or unintentional.
Yeah.
But
either way,
the way
he
in
is
which-
the one responsible for putting out that.
the way in which the plotting and the storytelling is so convoluted
Mm-hmm.
and complicated to absolve him
Yes.
of any relationship to the colonizer is a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because again, it suggests
Well, it suggests that you can be innocent,
Right.
even if you are benefiting from the colonization.
because the racial sins of our past were committed by people who owned slaves. And I've never owned a slave.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I don't have any responsibility for it.
Exactly.
And all the weaknesses in the plotting we're pointing out are ways of kind of showing how the lengths to which Disney has gone to try to insulate the king
yes.
from
Well,
his
insulate
father.
Arendelle.
Right. Yes. Yeah. But through the king, like
Right.
Arendelle personified by the king, who is also turned into this kind of unbelievable innocent.
Yes.
And so when people of color call for reparations today, and we play like the king, this
Right.
sort of this feigned innocence, and like what does it have to do with us, and how have
Right.
we ever benefited
Right.
from slavery or
Right.
reservations or westward expansion? They get pissed off.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
again, that's another phrase that the problems of the narratively, the problem I have with the film is that it sort of puts forth this idea of there is a way in which colonization can be innocent.
Or at least those who have inherited the benefits
Right.
of colonization are innocent of its sins.
Or not even inherited. The king is he was right there with them at the get together.
But even if you
So-
accept Disney's argument that he didn't know what his dad was up to when they went
Yeah.
up north, that he somehow he gets knocked out right before the fighting actually begins, so he doesn't actually see.
Well, I think he gets knocked. No, he sees the fighting because he sees his grandfather.
Oh, he
go off the
leaves
edge.
though. He doesn't.
He gets.
But
I think he gets knocked
see
out when everyone when the Enchanted
Right.
Forest gets closed.
He doesn't see the cause of the fight.
No, no one does. Yeah,
Right,
no one sees
right.
that it was the grandfather that.
But that's
tried-
his
that killed
innocence,
the-
right?
yeah.
Like that's his innocence. Like you can make this claim. It's tenuous and it's wrong. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But that's what Disney wants to do is to make the claim that the king is innocent of any colonial sin.
Right.
That it doesn't pass from generation to
Right.
generation.
Well, it's the idea that the colonial sin is not an original sin that everyone is tainted by.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't want to get all biblical, but yeah, I mean that's the sin that carries, right?
Yeah.
Like the idea that again, we live in a society upon which the wealth was built.
Yeah.
In substantial ways,
Right.
by taking advantage of a whole series of different kinds of and groups of
Right.
people.
And whether or not we had any direct connection to that exploitation, we
Right.
still are the beneficiaries of it.
which makes us complicit
Which
in
makes
a
us-
system
yeah.
that we ought to have honest conversations about.
Right.
And there's a presidential election coming up, so I'm sure we'll
I'm
do
sure.
that
Oh,
soon.
because when I think honest conversations,
Yes.
I think presidential election.
Yeah, Joe Biden and Donald Trump on the stage talking about race in America.
That's going to go well.
Yeah, makes you well.
Yeah.
It'll
So
go well
that's-
for certain people.
Yeah. So that's problem number one with the film.
All right.
All right, that's been 20 minutes.
Yeah. Problem number two.
I feel like that's a big foundational part of the problem.
Yes, it is.
Go.
And then there's problem number two.
Yes.
Which is the depiction of the North Uldra, the indigenous people,
Yes.
and their complete and total lack of agency
Right.
in the film.
I can see that. Yep.
Because, well, number one, they're like when they first show up, you see them and you have the remnants of the palace guard and they're like facing off, and clearly there's like been this stalemate for the 34 years
Yeah.
that there's like 6 palace guards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so they've been in a stalemate with the entirety of the North Uldra people.
In Disney's
With, like,
defense, you only
6
see
of them.
about 6 or 8 of the North Uldra.
Yeah, but
too,
there's clearly
right.
many
Agreed.
more.
Yes. Agreed.
Also, in
So-
the 34 years that the North Uldra
Yes.
were trapped,
Yes.
none of them thought, hey, let's sick the rock giants on the dam. And thought, hey, you know what? Screw Arendelle. Let's drown them.
Do they know that it would drown Arendelle?
I'm sure. Well, I think it would drown it because of the massive amount of water that would come
Right.
rushing.
Oh, no.
Under normal circumstances, Arendelle would be fine. It's just
Right.
all that damned water going down at once is the problem.
Yeah. I mean, assuming they know the geography of where Arendelle is.
I mean, they know it enough that they've met, so they have to be somewhat aware of
Right.
that
And yet it's
downriver.
interesting that the North Uldrians are always only in
Yeah,
the north.
yeah,
Like they don't as colonized people do.
Yeah.
They don't travel out.
Yeah.
People travel in.
yeah. So, but
Yeah.
also I'm like, why didn't
there's
they?
not you're that
And that even
Yes.
and even setting aside that, in the ultimate like climax of breaking the dam and what have you, they play zero role
right.
because it's Anna, it's Elsa, the palace guards get to show up and play a role. The North Uldra, who knows what they are doing?
Well, unless you count Anna and Elsa as half North Uldran.
I do not.
Why not? Racially, they like genetically they are, right?
Assuming their mom is actually full-blooded North Uldra,
So you
because she so much does not
well, that's true.
resemble
we
them.
don't really.
It makes me
I
wonder
guess
if
that's
there's more to the
kind
mom.
of-
But also,
Yeah,
again,
now we're writing a backstory that I don't think anybody
Yeah.
at Disney spent the time to actually consider.
I'm not sure they considered a lot of things in this film at Disney.
Yeah.
Because there's still another issue with the North Uldra.
Okay, you know what would be great? Mash up Nella Larson's passing
Oh God.
with Frozen 1.5.
Oh, Jesus.
Which is the story
Oh,
of the
my
king
God.
and the
And-
North Uldran princess that doesn't know that nobody knows is North Uldran.
Yeah. You could do it.
It'd be pretty good,
Yeah, I
actually.
mean, and that,
It'll
yeah.
be direct to DVD though, probably.
Oh, I'm not even sure it gets to DVD.
yeah, but if we were to write that
Oh, no,
and do a
it'll be on
Christmas
Disney
play,
Plus.
it would be pretty good.
It would be.
Be pretty good. Anyway, go on. It seems like you have more complaints.
Oh yeah, I do have more complaints about the. So yeah, so
It's
they
on a
have.
roll now.
See, now he's in his happy
So yeah, they
place.
play no. So again, I think of that aspect of the movie, and it contrasts Black Panther,
Oh, okay.
which again, a very sort of anti-colonialist film, one in which the whole point is to give people that we normally think of as the colonized and the victims very much agency.
Right.
Here, the North Old they do nothing except apparently hang out with Kristoff.
Right. Yeah. And of course, Kristoff is the one they would connect with.
Yeah.
Of all the
and that they are. I mean, even there's Ryder, who's basically the counterpart to Kristoff.
Yeah.
Honey Marin, who's clearly the counterpart to Anna.
Yeah.
That they seem to serve no purpose they have no storyline but to be foils.
Right.
To the other characters.
Well, in many ways, North Uldra is entirely a foil.
Yeah. And then there's the big issue, which is the fact that every single one of the major North Uldra characters is voiced by white American actors.
Did not know that.
I just found that out. Yet Martha Plimpton is the matriarch.
That's a weird casting choice.
Jason Ritter is Ryder.
Yeah.
And Rachel Matthews, who I think was the star of Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2, is Honey Marin.
Yeah.
That they are all voiced by white American actors. I'm like, how do you do that in this day and age?
Maybe Disney's thinking that casting whites as the colonized is a way of flipping the narrative.
Yeah, except that they do very stereotypical kind of native people accents.
Yeah. As soon as you see the people up north, you realize this film's going to be problematic.
I was hoping
Really?
that they were going to do something different, and then that hope was dashed pretty quickly.
I had zero hope.
I was hoping.
There's one hopeful thing in this movie.
Don't say
Olaf.
it. No.
That's it. Olaf is a beacon of racial equality.
Really?
And optimism.
Pretty sure Olaf is a minstrel play.
Is he?
I don't know.
That feels like a reach, but
You also just hate Olaf.
I do just hate Olaf. But yeah, so yeah, those. So yeah, just I give them a scintilla of credit for their willingness to try to tackle kind of this issue of colonialism, reparations, and
I think there's a real courage.
but man, did they! And then the end.
Oh, it's just. Oh, we haven't even. Yeah.
Yeah. So is Elsa now in charge of the North?
I
and
believe
the North
so.
Uldra?
She is
I'm
the queen up north, and Anna
that's-
is the queen
I'm
down
like, well,
south.
that's fantastic because that's not
Yeah.
problematic at all.
Well, what they really need is somebody like Ngo Dinh Diem,
I'm sorry, like who?
the leader of South Vietnam under
Oh,
American.
sorry, took me a second.
Under American tutelage.
Oh, good.
But,
We're
like,
going to Vietnam.
They need to be Western educated and think and live and be as much like us as possible if there's hope for those people to sort of modernize.
Yeah, well, you know
do
what the
better in the
solution to the colonial past is? More colonialism.
Yeah.
More
If it
colonizing.
didn't work the first time, try again.
Because now Elsa's going to be up north and apparently.
But she's one of them. Yeah, it hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's just it's. Yeah, I don't understand. Given what they seem to be trying to do, and maybe they found themselves sort of boxed in.
Yeah.
By the fact that they were trying to do this in a movie for kids and couldn't actually go.
And in a political context where even raising the issue is enough to risk box office.
Yeah,
box office
but yeah,
blowback.
they in some ways ended up boxing themselves in.
Yeah.
And they
To an ending that
To
was
an ending that
kind
just
of
had no-
preordained and fits all too much with the old Disney.
Yeah. I mean,
And
that's the thing.
not
Like,
with,
at first I was hopeful. At the very beginning, I was hopeful. I was like, oh, is this going to be like Disney kind of making up for or
Right. If Frozen 1 was about feminine empowerment,
yes.
that this would be about a racial empowerment.
Yes.
Or, yeah.
But it only empowers the ones that can pass.
Right. Yeah. And at no cost.
And I mean, that's
To those
and
who
yeah.
have benefited forever from.
And the idea that we can fix the sins of our colonial past without any sort of cost to us
But it is kind of
is
new,
exactly
right?
why we are where we are.
But it is kind of a new idea that native cultures are more mystical.
Yeah.
Is that another racial problem
Yeah,
in the film?
that's
Yeah.
totally new. Yeah, they've never been associated with things like shaman or
In fact, if you were to go read
Pocahontas.
All New, All Different,
yes, a history of race in the American superhero from
you would
University
see
of Texas
that kind
Press.
of what Disney's doing with Native American culture here
Yeah.
is very much what American pop culture has done with Native American
Oh, yeah.
culture for,
Ever.
as long as they could,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. Also, it does, I'm not sure it made sense to me. I'm like, okay, so I get that nature was angry at the violence of the battle.
Right.
But why did nature blame everyone and not the colonizers?
Right.
Like, it feels like the North Older were kind of punished for no real reason.
Well, God doesn't really take sides, right?
Oh, God, I'm pretty sure God takes sides.
But why do the colonizers always win then?
Yeah, well, because God is
Divine mandate.
kind of sucks.
So here's a question for you.
But yeah, so those are I just it's just the more I think about the movie, the more kind of enraged I get at it. And I'm like, oh,
Right.
And
if it didn't have Olaf, it would be just a disaster.
and then the white actors all playing the North Older roles. I'm like, how? Also, why is nobody talking about that? Like, I've seen nothing about that.
Because Martha Plimpton needs a job.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a name I hadn't heard in a long time.
I know, and that's the thing. I was looking at the Wikipedia real quick, and I saw, Yelena played by Martha Plimpton. I'm like, that's not Martha Plimpton. And I click on the link. I'm like, no, it is. I'm like,
So the L.A. Times actually asked if the film was too political.
Oh yeah, there's been. I've got one from National Review and from Slate.
Yeah. So, but real
as
quickly,
complaining about the radical nature of the film.
yeah, the L.A. Times, beyond the racial stuff, praises Anna's song about grief and how to battle through depression, the next right thing.
I saw some things about that. Yes.
But also talks about how the film was almost prescient in forecasting the OK Boomer meme. Their argument being that the way in which the princess's forefathers made a mess of the environment is a thinly veiled kind of political statement about the way in which we are handing our kids an environment that is on the tipping point of catastrophe.
That feels very stretchy to me.
Well, it was the L.A. Times.
Yeah,
sir,
that
so-
feels like a because in point of
stretchy,
fact,
but also kind of justified in a way.
well, but the only
it's
people
true.
the
Yeah.
only people
Yeah.
that know about the dam are Anna and Elsa.
And the people who made it.
Right, but the environmental legacy remains. They all have to live in that world that was bequeathed them by people who destroyed the environment.
Yeah, I'm not sure I see that.
Okay, Boomer.
I don't know if I see that as much as I see
not your
the
fault,
colonial.
sir. Not your fault.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not sure I just see that. I'm not sure I see that
Us millennials will
legacy.
just fix it for you.
I don't see that legacy as clearly in the film.
Rich, what's your plan for fixing the environment? Now that you said the millennials are going to fix, I'm just curious. I'd like to hear his political.
Rich is a millennial.
Isn't he?
Technically, yes.
Okay.
It starts in 1980,
So he's an old millennial. Wait, it starts in 1980?
I believe. I'm not
You sure that's not? No. Well, I guess.
No, Gen X is still in the 80s.
Hang on.
Yeah, I think you're.
I'm
No.
Gen X.
I'm Gen X.
But I don't know. When does Gen X end? I thought millennials were closer to the millennium.
Hang on, I'm looking it up. Because I remember seeing a infographic about the years, and it's like, oh, I am technically a millennial.
I'm not saying you're not a millennial. I just think 1980 is the
81 to 96, according to this.
one. Wow, Rich was right.
Gen X
was
is
off by a year.
61 to 81.
Huh?
It's interesting.
Okay, so Rich is a millennial.
Yes.
So what's your fix?
I was just gonna wait for everyone on the planet to die. Then let Mother Nature fix itself. One of those kind of like zombie apocalypse things.
Probably the most likely outcome.
Yeah.
Hey, before we move to fair or foul real quickly, what's Frozen 3 going to be about? I want you to plot Frozen 3.
God.
So they've done
Civil War.
gender, they've done race.
Oh God, is it class?
Is it?
Sexuality?
Could be.
There is a whole thing about Elsa as kind of a queer icon that Disney refuses to acknowledge.
There
That was from one.
There was a lot of controversy about that, which I have trouble wrapping my head around because how do we know?
Well, I don't think anyone knows, but the idea I think with the Let It Go song specifically was about like kind of coming out of the closet and stuff.
Well,
So I think from that point.
but not literally coming out of the
Well,
closet.
no, but the idea.
But about being her true
Well,
self.
but I mean,
Yeah.
she did. But I mean, she was literally kept hidden in the castle
Yeah.
right?
for a long time. So you think of the
And
castle as a
by
closet.
herself for a
Right,
good
right, but that's
point.
what I mean. I mean, maybe I can see Rich's point. There's like a metaphorical coming
Yeah.
out of the closet that might be applied to
Yeah,
a sexuality.
yeah.
as well. But on the other hand, I'm like, oh, just 'cause she doesn't have a boyfriend, so she must be gay.
Yeah, well, that's
Is a
not
problematic way of
that is a
thinking about
problematic
the
way of
world
looking at it,
too,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that as a woman without a man that you, I don't know.
Yeah.
So so I guess it could be like sexuality would make sense. Although
Yeah.
I don't think Disney would ever touch that. Class. Would
Yeah,
make
I'm not
sense.
sure. Yeah. Oh God.
I could see them doing Class.
Oh, maybe they'll just try race again.
Yeah, I like them to do like supply side economics.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Supply side of economics.
Well, they're in charge.
It's the invisible hand of the market.
Well, trickle down.
Yeah.
It'd be like a French
Well, literally,
Revolution
because
kinda
she
thing.
mixed frozen water, so it would trickle down.
And the dam breaks and the water trickles.
Yeah. And you know what? Water has memory.
Does it? How do you know that?
I'm pretty sure it was emphasized once or twice in the
I
film.
don't remember that. It must have been a very subtle
very
point.
subtle. It was
must have been a
very
subtle
subtle.
point. And by the way, I don't think that's scientifically true,
What is?
that water has memory.
No, I'm pretty sure that's not true in any way.
So I brought a list of my favorite Olaf quotes,
I thought you were gonna do fair or foul.
but I think we should do fair or foul instead.
Okay.
They're not my favorite. I looked at best Olaf quotes.
There are none, so we're done.
All right.
We
So
covered it.
we'll skip that part. We've got, I don't know, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
10 minutes?
We can do some fair or
Let's
foul.
do some fair or foul. Do you want to go first or shall I?
I've got one for you.
Yes.
This is from Angie Dahl of the Mary Sue.
Dad, you just made up all those words.
No, I did not. Quote, if we had to choose one hero of Frozen 2,
Yes.
it's Anna. It's her idea to break the dam because she realizes Arendelle will have no future if she doesn't make things right.
What?
Oof. The first part seemed right. I think Anna is meant to be the hero of the film. I'm not sure the second part really carries water.
Yeah, carries water.
Hey,
It did there.
Yeah.
they almost all died.
That theory's
Yeah.
all wet.
Yeah, that's an idea that doesn't float.
Yeah. Yep. It's drowning in hopefulness. How about this one? This is from Brian Lowry of CNN.
Okay?
Quote, because the first movie generated such a bracing gust of enthusiasm, Frozen 2 will inevitably be nitpicked and judged against those lofty standards. Still, there's plenty to enjoy for those willing to chill out
Oh,
and, yes, let the past go.
But that's like explaining. That's describing every
See,
sequel to a movie.
he's
ever.
really described us inevitably nitpicking and judging it against
Yes,
lofty
yes.
standards.
yes.
Still, there's a lot to enjoy if you just chill out and let the past go.
Yeah. I'm going to go with foul on that one.
The film, I really enjoyed Frozen 1.
Yeah.
Maybe because I saw it with Hope when she was like 8 years old. And it was like, it was the movie that hit
Oh,
at
yeah.
the right time in my life. But even, I don't know that I'm judging it against the last one. When I say it just didn't feel as engaging to me.
Yeah.
I never really felt drawn into the film
Yeah.
as I sat and watched it. Maybe I'm tired. I felt that way about movies a lot lately.
Yeah. So I've got another one.
Yeah.
This is from Inku Kong of Slate.com, if you thought the previous names were made up.
Okay, but Slate. I've heard of Slate.
Yeah, and their article is on the reparations element of the film. Quote, the idea that we should be willing to annihilate any and all current institutions, including the only home some people have known,
Oh, nice. I like this. I like
to
this one's
correct
coming from-
historical atrocities sure is lofty. Framing reparations in this zero-sum way feels both simplistic and possibly counterproductive toward actual justice.
I think there's actually a lot of fairness in that.
Yeah.
It started. I thought it was going to be a little too right wing for me, but where it ends up, I think, is a fairly commonsensical point in terms of if we frame the conversation about reparations in this country as zero sum, that to make good or to repair what the damage done in the past, we have to destroy everything as it currently exists, means that racial justice is not going to get done. So there is some truth in that. That my complaint at the beginning that I think still holds, though, the idea that just white conscience is enough is the problem in the film.
See, that's the problem, is that I actually disagree with this
Yeah.
on almost every single way.
Okay.
Because we're talking about the zero-sum way
Yeah.
in a fictional universe.
Right.
The movie's not saying this is what we need to do in reality.
Right.
The movie is saying, just as Thor Ragnarok is not saying this is what we need to do. It is making us think about the ways in which we are implicated in these institutions.
The problem with the movie is it says just thinking about it is enough. Just acknowledging is enough, and it's not.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm making the argument that the movie's right, but the idea that we can only repair by destruction is maybe not the only way to think about it. And that's how the movie frames.
It does, but I don't have a problem
question.
with framing the question in the fictional universe as we have to wipe everything out to get us to think beyond the limits of what we're going to do in reality.
I would agree with that if the film didn't dodge the entire thing at the end by saying just thinking about it was enough.
Yeah, it does dodge it, but I would say, but for me to condemn the film as too radical in that it's suggesting that in order to achieve reparations in the real world, we have to tear everything down.
Yeah.
I think the movie in gesturing towards tearing everything down, or in Thor Ragnarok, I don't think Thor Ragnarok is suggesting we have to tear all the institutions down.
Right.
But I think by tearing the institutions down in Thor Ragnarok,
in the film,
it's making us start to think about ways in which we may need to rethink institutions and structures in reality.
I hear what you're saying, and I totally agree that we have to rethink institutions and structures.
Yeah.
That I don't disagree with. The problem is I don't think the film ever really contemplates destruction.
No, the film doesn't.
That the film...
you're right. Frozen 2 doesn't.
That the way Frozen 2 handles that material is to kind of suggest some people might say we need to destroy everything, but we don't. All we need to do is think pretty thoughts.
Right.
And it'll be okay.
Right.
And I see truth or fairness in that quote because I think it's somewhere in between those two extremes of total destruction and only happy thoughts.
I'm not sure it is based on kind of having read the entire article.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the article, in some ways, he seems to literally think Frozen 2 is suggesting we tear everything down.
Well, I think that's not...
In reality,
right.
which, number one, it's not doing.
Frozen 2 makes the exact opposite argument. We don't have to destroy anything.
But also the idea that a work of
required.
fiction suggesting the zero-sum game to make us maybe think more radically about what we need to do in reality, which is what he's objecting to.
I hear where you're coming from.
With that.
I have no problem with fiction pressing us in the extreme argument to get us to have a conversation about the space that fills the in-between.
Right.
Totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. And then there's Kyle Smith of the National Review.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, because he obviously wrote an article, and then he actually cites the Slate.com as evidence that his position was not too radical.
Yeah.
Quote,
oh, boy.
But it appears the writing staff are a gang of eager progressives.
Oh, boy.
Who are so blinded by guilt about America's past that they didn't see the huge problem they created for themselves. Sometimes the left's enthusiasm for making amends for ancient iniquity looks like random punishment directed at innocent living people. Disney typically contents itself with selling a sort of mushy, be-nice liberalism, but Frozen 2 may presage a turn to storylines that celebrate extremism. Are you ready for woke Disney?
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, no, I think that number one, this is feel-good liberalism.
It is. It's 100% feel-good. Yeah.
This is nothing more. I think that if anything, the idea of a woke Disney is only suggesting the way in which the cultural conversation has shifted on the political spectrum here as we move further and further right. What was once feel-good liberalism looks more and more and more like some kind of radical.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing feel-good about saying what I think that writer might very well believe. As long as I say like slavery was bad in the past, we're good. Like it's fixed. The problem with this film is exactly the opposite of what he or she is arguing.
Yeah, no, it's not. The film is not nearly as radical.
It's not that it's too radical.
No.
That these progressives are too eager.
Right.
Is that these progressives are eager to talk about a subject that they're unable or unwilling to fully address. That's the problem with
or
it.
they're unable or unwilling to fully address without fully recognizing the implications of what that would mean.
Because they don't want to step beyond their feel-good liberalism.
Yeah, or because they
read
don't,
all new,
or
all different.
they don't want to upset the status quo, which is the problem with liberalism historically. Is that
which is
it
founded
wanted,
on a feel-good liberalism.
which is that it wanted to change things on an individual level, but did not want to deal with systemic changes to deal with racism and inequality.
That it's a problem of conscience.
Yeah.
As opposed to system.
Which has been the problem with post-war liberalism since World War II,
That's-
which you can discover if you read All New, All Different, A History of Race in the American Superhero.
Feels like we're shamelessly
From World War
promoting,
II
but
to the
this is
present.
really, we got our first fan letter, so clearly it's connecting
Yeah.
with people.
Well, with person.
A person, but well, it's
Hey, we're up to 14 libraries.
nice. It's got to start somewhere. But I think for all of the right's complaints about leftist snowflakeism, the right's inability to hear a film like this without getting really, really kind of melty in response to it suggests that the problem of like thin-skinnedness
Yeah.
is at best shared by both liberals and conservatives.
Yeah.
And that you can't say anything that disagrees with the National Review without being labeled woke, and thus diminished and reified and turned into a stereotype and a caricature instead of an honest conversation about the weight of our racial sin in this country and how to address it.
Right. And I
Because
guess
that's what we
I'm-
ought to do.
Yeah.
But neither Frozen,
No.
the eager progressives, nor National Review, holding the line on Americanism,
Yeah.
neither one of them is actually willing
Yeah.
to have a conversation about it.
Yeah. I think in some ways, if I'm giving credit to the writers of Frozen, too,
Yeah.
I think they may have gone in it with the intention
Yes.
of some of that honesty.
Yeah.
But very quickly found them boxed in by where that because that honesty leads you to Arendelle gets destroyed.
Well-
and then you have maybe the North Older and Arendelians coming together to build a mutual society. I don't know.
But the question is, and we'll never know intent.
Yeah.
Did they come hoping for more and find themselves boxed in by corporate and political constraints?
Yeah.
Or did they come as quote unquote progressives in the American tradition, imagining that this was in fact a progressive message?
Yeah, they did apparently consult some First Nations people on their depiction,
And then ignore everything?
I'm not sure I did because the film does credit the Sami. I think it's SAMI.
Okay.
I remember seeing a blog post about how, we tried to do better because they talked to him after the second or the first film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to me,
Well, because the first film was critiqued for how white it was.
yeah.
Which is nice that we found the two black people in Arendelle.
Right. Well, there's a kind of tokenism to the multicultural Arendelle that gets promoted that probably is questionable too.
Well, and again, it's the flip side too of Singer's argument about the way in which comics sort of represent sort of diversity with false images of it, like the yellow and the green and the orange aliens.
Yeah.
I'm not sure diversity and hybridity that is entirely depicted as white is any better.
Right. Agreed. Which makes me think that where Frozen came from was less a more radical vision, but instead the more sort of standard American vision of
Feel-good liberalism.
feel-good liberal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I think Frozen 2 is a pretty terrific exemplar of a feel-good liberalism.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's 100%. I mean, particularly when you think of the idea of liberalism, particularly as it's been defined as, wanting to look at the problems related to race as entirely individual and intentional. So the problem is the grandfather,
Right. Yes.
who was clearly evil.
And but even his son is, as we've talked about, distanced from that evil.
Yeah.
And his granddaughters are
Or even
completely
further.
innocent,
Yeah.
right? They are complete innocents in this racial violence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do not, and so we need to get rid of them, but we don't need to change the structures of American society or Arendellian society.
Right. And in fact, once we're past the grandfather and we get rid of the magical barrier,
No,
that
everything's
is
good.
the problem. Everything's good.
Everything's good. Elsa just took over the North, so I'm sure she's going to be fine.
Yeah.
The North Older, I'm sure they're fine with it because I'm sure they got a say.
Absolutely.
'Cause
Absolutely.
Clearly, they have lots of agency in this.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
So it seems like at the end of the day,
And they all lived happily ever after.
not on this podcast, however. It
No.
seems like we're all leaving. I mean, you started pouty. Then you got happy because you were
started
complaining,
pouting.
but now you seem unhappy again
I
as you
can't
critique
imagine.
what's wrong with
Can't
American
imagine.
society.
And as
So
I'm critiqued for my poutiness.
And bitterness and cynicism.
it's the poutiness that really works.
And now we have 15 minutes of Olaf.
Ugh.
Olaf quotes. Number 1 of 28.
God, how many do you have?
I have an entire page.
What was your favorite Olaf quote?
I don't have one, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
You like Olaf, but there's nothing you can
You know what?
quote.
You know what my favorite quote was? I think I'm dying. That was my favorite. I was like, oh, please God.